So, decided to come out in the open, have you? Now it's our turn to ask questions and the answers better come thick and fast, otherwise you are going to be carried out here in a stretcher! Now, what department are you working for?
Oh, look, really, this isn't necessary.
What department?
I'm not from any department. I'm a journalist.
Sid!
Ambulance service, quickly.
Oh, give us a bit of breathing space, will you, girls? You can watch me just as well from over there.
Yeah. Follow-up story on the escape be damned. What makes her think she's any different from any other reporter?
She got herself put in here. She must really want the truth.
Oh, I can tell you one thing. I don't trust any of them. You tell them the facts and then they go and print what they bloody well like. You ought to know that. Look what they did to you over that Jackie Nolan thing.
Are you two in this or not? What'd you say, Bea?
Will you stop worrying about Sid? He has probably gone fishing.
No. He's not the sort to leave a job half done. Something awful must have happened.
Yeah. Another thing, every time the papers get involved with us, we're the ones that end up with egg on our faces.
Listen, they helped Pat O'Connell and Jackie Nolan. If they hadn't made the noise they did, we wouldn't have got ourselves a teacher.
Oh, big deal.
Listen, I told you not to go mooching around after that teacher. He's the same as a screw. He wouldn't get involved with you even if he wanted to.
Yeah, well, he didn't have to go and tell Vera about the socks I knitted him.
Don't you forget about that for 2 seconds. Anyhow, we are not talking about him. I say we give her what we want to give her and get ourselves a bit of PR.
Lizzie, can I see you for a moment, please?
Oh, it's Sid, isn't it? Something awful's happened. I knew it.
Now, stop jumping to conclusions. I just want a word with you. Mrs. Morris, I was just wondering, have any of the women here ever been attacked by other prisoners?
Has anybody been threatening you?
No, just curious.
If ever anything like that happens, believe me, the women responsible aren't let off lightly.
What was that all about?
Just in case you were planning on giving me another king hit from behind.
Yeah, well, that's because we thought you were an undercover cop or something.
Will you shut up, Doreen?
Doreen, I thought it was because you didn't like me. Now, will you call your bulldogs off? I've come here to write a story. Do like I say, and I'll get your photograph in the social pages.
It's not as bad as it sounds, Lizzie. Mrs. Power went with him to the hospital, and although he's had a stroke, it could have been worse.
You're just saying that. I know what one of them strokes can do to you. You're lucky if you don't just turn into a veggie. I've read all them medical books in here, you know.
And you've probably read just enough to worry yourself unnecessarily.
You telling me that he's going to be as right as rain again?
Well, I don't think he'll be able to come back to work, Lizzie.
Does that mean he's going to be bedridden?
Well, it's too early to tell.
It's a shame his family don't live a little bit nearer. You need somebody close to you at a time like this.
Look, I'll have a word with Mrs. Davidson. Oh, no, she's out. Well, Mr. Fletcher, then. But I can't promise anything, but you might be able to visit him tomorrow.
Oh, that is good of you, Mrs. M.
I'm sorry, Lizzie.
Oh, I don't reckon you can keep an old fella like Sid down for long. He's like me, tough as an old boot. I reckon if he makes his mind up to it, he'll be back here before you know what. I reckon he's just overdone it a bit, that's all.
Look, they've only given me 3 weeks. How long do I have to wait before you decide to help?
We're just working out if we can trust you.
I could have told the screws about being attacked in the shower the other day, now couldn't I?
Now, how do we know that you're going to tell them the truth?
You don't. Neither do I yet.
Mm-hmm. Well, you better be careful what you say, because if you don't watch your step, we'll tell the screws on you, and they don't like journals any more than we do.
Ah, well, then I can assure you I'll write some very juicy stuff about women behind bars.
You want to bet, you bitch.
All right. We'll give you what we can. But like all sources of information, we expect a small token of your appreciation. From that wad you showed Jude. You'll get paid.
If and when I decide you've given me some valuable information.
Well, that rather depends where your sympathies lie, doesn't it?
I'm unbiased.
Oh, Lizzie, was it about Sid?
Yeah. He's had one of them strokes, Dor. The doctors reckon he'll pull through, but it's just a matter of time.
Oh, crikey.
What rotten luck. I am sorry, love.
Yeah, honey, don't you worry too much. There's a lot of fight in him yet.
Yeah, that's what I reckon. He'll be back with us in no time.
Please help!
Get them out of there, quickly. Come on.
Hey, what you doing? No! Need to keep this one. Handcuffed for her,
Sure, she shouldn't have been. Oh, you little bitch.
You try to make me.
Come on.
I need a doctor, please.
Sister Franklin will be here soon. Now, we'll get this over with as quickly as possible. Jennifer Ann Armstrong, you've been sentenced to 7 days imprisonment for failure to pay fines relating to traffic violations. Now, is that correct?
Yes.
Look, she's in no fit condition to have her fingerprints taken. Can we leave it till later?
Yes, all right.
Pig, go on. Hit me or dare ya.
Right. Stand over there on that line.
Your slimy paws off me.
You're going to learn to do as you're told, young lady.
Georgina Baxter, you've been sentenced to a period of 6 months imprisonment, having been found guilty of assault and bodily harm. Is that correct?
Answer when an officer speaks to you.
We better get you to the examination room. It could be broken.
Broken.
Don't worry. We'll see it doesn't ruin your looks.
Is that correct?
Right. See she gets into a uniform, will you, Officer Barfield?
I ain't getting into them rags. You try to put them on me, I'll scratch your eyes out.
Ow! Right, that does it. You're going to spend some time in solitary till you learn to do as you're told.
What about the showers?
Do you want to risk it?
No, thanks.
All right. Will you be all right? Mm-hmm. Better come with me.
Bunch of turds.
Keep that gut language to yourself, Baxter.
Stand on the line, please.
Good heavens. This can't be happening to me.
If you want to be tough, we'll be twice as tough. It's up to you how you want to spend your 6 months in here. It can be as easy or as hard as you want to make it. It's up to you. But I'm warning you, we can outlast you. You'll stay in here until you learn to do as you're told. Now get into that uniform and do as the officers tell you. And stop behaving like a punk. Right, you'll learn the hard way.
Well, the only reason that we tried to escape in the first place was because what Gillespie was doing to us.
Look, frankly, that's stale news. I want a new angle. Something like, what did you do on the run? Like, where did you go? Who did you see? What does it feel like? Were you afraid, desperate? And mostly, who helped you when you were on the run?
Look, what Jude is trying to say is it's what happens in here that counts. That's what you should be writing about. Take the screws, for instance. Who want to do a job like that?
That's right, if you're so interested in finding out what makes people tick, do a story on the screws. They're the real social garbage, only they get paid for it.
Yeah, and I reckon they shouldn't have any men working in a women's prison. We should have a woman teacher.
Put a sock in it, Doreen.
Oh, Sid's a man, and it's all right him working in here.
Yeah, well, Sid's different. But what would a man know about women's problems anyway?
Well, you reckon Vera's any different?
Do you find it sexually frustrating having men around?
No.
You wouldn't understand anything, would you? That's because you're going to be out of here in a lousy 3 weeks.
How can I understand if you won't answer my questions?
Well, they're pretty dumb questions if you ask me.
Hey. Ladies, this is Evelyn Randel. Mrs. B. Smith B. will show you around. You can get your dinner over there.
Oh, no, I'm not really very hungry, thank you.
She's heard about the food already.
Well, suit yourself, but it's a long time till breakfast.
Take a seat, Evie.
Evelyn.
Okay, Evie. This is Lizzie, Doreen, Sandy, and Judy.
Hi.
Hi.
G'day.
You're going to get fallen arches if you stand there much longer, love.
Come on, Evie, we're not going to bite you.
It's always bad on the first day, but you get used to it.
Used to it? After what I've just seen, you know, a young girl was viciously attacked in the back of the police van, right in front of me.
Look, if you're not going to sit down, you can leave the dining room.
Do you mean you come in with some others?
Yes, 2 young girls. One was taken away by a nurse. I don't know what they did with the little maniac who attacked her. It was appalling.
3 new faces. Oh, that's going to liven up the joint a bit.
Yeah. See if you can do some snooping later, just so we know what we're dealing with.
Well, you better be careful. She's very violent.
Oh, I can look after myself. Anyway, Bee's got to know all about it because she's got to keep him in line. She runs this joint.
How long did you get, Evelyn?
No, I wouldn't pay any attention to her if I were you. She's a reporter. She asks a lot of questions don't concern her. Well, I am going to appeal. I won't be in here for very long.
Yeah.
Quite a mixed bunch.
Yeah, I could do without that little horror in solitary.
Yes, I think she could be trouble.
Just to be on the safe side, I don't want any officer seeing her alone. Yes, Officer Knox.
I wanted to know if I could go and see Sid tomorrow, Mr. Fletcher.
All right, Lizzie.
Beauty! Oh, you're a good sport, Mr.
You
Fletcher.
just remember, he's a sick man, Lizzie. Don't expect miracles.
Oh, I've had heart attacks myself, but they've never put me on my back for too long.
Oh, you've got to be realistic, Lizzie. He's not going to be able to work for a long time, if at all.
Yeah, I must admit it was a bit of a shock. Suppose I ought to take things a bit easier myself. Do you think I could go on meal trolley duty tomorrow?
All right, Lizzie.
It's hard to know that you've got to slow down just because you're getting on a bit.
Do you get the feeling you're just being conned into something?
Oh, she can't get into much mischief delivering meals.
No, I suppose not. Oh, by the way, did you hear that Randel woman is going to appeal?
Oh, she's got nothing to lose, I suppose.
Well, I think it's about time that the law cracked down on people like that.
Look, you can't condemn an entire profession because of one incident. I think there's a place for things like that.
Profession? They're a bunch of charlatans.
Well, I'm willing to keep an open mind.
What exactly do you want, B? Get rid of the screws, or maybe abolish prisons entirely?
Look, although I realise we are supposed to be paying our debt to society, I don't quite understand why we have to give up our rights as human beings.
Yeah, and another thing is I reckon they should build a new place for the mothers to be with their kids.
Well, look, this is riveting, ladies, but I think I'll go and have a migraine.
Well, I can tell you one thing, love. She doesn't care about us. She's just after a bit of sensationalism, and she'll print exactly what she wants to print.
Hey, Bee, they're letting me go to the hospital tomorrow.
Oh, good on you, love.
Oh, are you sick?
No, not me. Gentleman friend of mine's had a bit of a stroke.
Oh, do they know what caused it? I mean, cerebral hemorrhage or embolism or high blood pressure?
Know a bit about these things, do you?
I'm a herbalist. I've been curing people for over 20 years. I've done more for my patients than any doctor.
Oh, could you tell me what cure a funny ticker?
Foxglove or lily of the valley.
Well, what do you know?
Don't go filling her head with all that rubbish.
It's not rubbish. Herbalists were around long before doctors, and all my cures are proven facts. You know, it's ignorant people like yourself who give doctors the right to prescribe dangerous drugs.
What did you just say to me?
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to offend you. You know, it's the last few weeks, they've been like a nightmare.
Well, you shoot your mouth off like that again and you'll find out what nightmares are all about.
I fancy yourself as a bit of a faith healer, do you, love? No, my cures do work.
Of course, my patients do have a lot of faith in me, but that's because my success rate is practically 100%.
You can't set a broken arm by eating weeds.
Well, actually, you know, that's not quite true. And a lot of the big problems, like heart attacks and brain tumours, can be avoided if the patients come to me early enough.
Oh, I wish you'd been around when Sid got sick.
Witch doctors went out when people worked out that they were nothing but rip-off merchants and cheats.
Oh, Bea, you were a bit hard on her, don't you think?
Look, people like that make a fortune out of frightened, hopeless cases. They are nothing but bloodsuckers.
Excuse me, you're not the Sandra Hamilton who writes for the newspapers, are you?
Fame at last.
Oh, I've read some of your articles. They're very good.
They're terrific if you like reading the social pages.
And whatever did you do to be put into prison?
I had myself put in on purpose, just for 3 weeks. So I wanted to follow up a story. I want to get from B grade journo to A grade. God knows I already do the work.
What, you mean you wanted to be put in here?
Seemed like a good idea at the time. I hear you're appealing.
Yes, well, I was given 3 years, but the jury was totally prejudiced. Now, look, if you're after a story, you might be able to help me.
I know. The sad story of the incarceration of Evelyn.
Look, I'm not like those other women. Please, look, if you just listen to me.
Sorry, I will. But there are conditions. Keep your ear to the ground. See if you can pick up any gossip about Bea or Judy. You do the right thing by me, I'll do the right thing by you.
I know how to serve breakfast. What are you two tagging along for?
Yes, enjoy your company, Lizzie. Up against the wall, Baxter. Up against the wall or you won't get any breakfast. All right, take it in, Miss Barfield.
Oh, what you got in there, Mr. Fletcher? A mad dog. Oh, good day, love. What they shove you in
No
there?
talking, Lizzie.
What are you staring at your bag?
I heard about you tearing up your uniform. When you decide to wear one, we might let you out of this place. This cellar better be tidy by the time I get back.
Why'd you try and take me on, you yellow-bellied pig?
Oh, you got a couple of beauts there, love. What's your name?
Jenny Armstrong.
Oh, why'd you get laid into you like that?
Well, I was just telling that other lady about my trip overseas, and suddenly I was being attacked. It's for no reason at all. In fact, we were laughing at the time.
Never mind, love. Bea'll look after you when you get out.
I want to go home.
Of course you do, young girl like you. How long they give you?
7 days.
Is that all? You a pro or something?
No. I just got back from Asia. They didn't even give me time to unpack. They arrested me for not paying some parking fines before I left.
If you had enough money to get out of the country, well, why couldn't you pay your fines?
I didn't want to. I didn't mind going to prison for a week. I thought it'd be fun.
God, what's the matter with you kids these days? You got no brains. I'll tell you, it's no joke being in a place like this, and it isn't funny to have a criminal record either. A lot of people around don't like ex-crims. It's a bit late feeling sorry for yourself now. If I was you, I'd get somebody to pay them fines for you quick, smart. Anything could happen to you in a place like this. Some of the girls spend weeks in hospital.
Why the hell should I pay you? All you've done is whinge about conditions here. Well, as far as I'm concerned, you haven't got anything to complain about. It's not the screws who last things up, it's you.
Well, maybe we can change your mind. Huh?
You lay one finger on me, and I swear I will write articles that will have the public screaming for tighter security measures all round. Look, I have no intention of trying to turn prisons into tourist resorts. I would be laughed out of my job.
You haven't listened to one word we've said, have you, Hamilton? It's about time you started.
Not now, B. I saw Fletch heading this way.
You'll keep.
I reckon we got another Frankie Doyle in the pound. She's only a kid, but wild. She's even got the screw scared.
Yeah, we've got other problems at the moment.
Lizzie, Mrs. Morris is ready to take her to the hospital now.
Oh!
Now, Mr. Andrews will be in a meeting this morning, so classes will have to wait. Doreen, the governor wants to see you in her office in about an hour.
Yes, Mr. Fletcher.
Mr. Fletcher, look, isn't there any other work I can do around here? I'll go mad doing a menial job all day. Might be all right for some people, but I need to use my brain.
You should start by thinking before you speak. All right, then, come on.
We're not going to let her get away with that, are we, B? She's nothing but a stuck-up know-it-all.
Oh, yes, we are. But the screws aren't. They're going to show her what it's like to do a little stint in solitary.
G'day, Sid.
Elizabeth. Mrs. Morris?
Hello, Mr. Humphrey.
You're a silly old duffer giving us all a scare like that. You better get well soon, though. The joint's falling to pieces without you being there. Isn't it, Mrs. Morris?
Oh, that's right. I mean, it's amazing how many fuses and taps play up in a relatively new building.
Yeah. I'll do that for you, Sid.
I can tell it. Useless. Yet, you know.
Yeah, it's all right, Mr. Humphrey. Just this silly old splint that makes it difficult for you, that's all.
Heavens, I didn't know where to find you.
This is their idea of me using my brain, returning library books.
I'll have to be quick. I said I was going to use the bathroom. How can you speak to those women like that? They're very dangerous.
Why? What have they been saying?
Aren't you frightened of them?
Well, I figure I'll be all right as long as I'm not left alone with them.
Oh, you'll be left alone, all right. They're going to have you put into solitary.
How are they going to arrange that? Actually, I wouldn't mind the opportunity to get near that tough little number you came in with. Here's a criminal mind for you. Look, watch how they operate, Evelyn, without letting them know I'm onto them. In fact, I might even stir things up a little myself.
I seen that look in his eye, B. He doesn't want to go on. He reckons he's useless. I know he won't be coming back here. But when I needed him, he was here. And now that I could do something for him, I can't even see him.
Oh, love, though, it's your visit.
Honey, you got to face up to one thing. Even if you were on the outside, you couldn't be much use to him. Lifting and carrying, you'd end up dead in a week.
You know, your best bet is to encourage him to get better. Positive thinking works wonders.
Well, now you're talking sense. For a minute there, I thought you were going to advise him to eat grass. Anyway, you're just in time to help us put Lois Lane in the pound.
Who?
Lois Lane, the reporter.
Oh, maybe we could get her into a fight.
No, it's got to be something that doesn't get us into trouble.
Oh, please, can't you leave her alone? I mean, we're all mature women. She has a right to think what she likes.
Well, she said she wanted to write an unbiased report. This way she can see both sides of the story.
After a few months, you'll learn what it's all about.
Oh, no. I'll be out once I get a fair trial.
Yeah, we've heard all that before, too. Maybe you should get her to write a piece on you. Or maybe you've asked her already. And that's why you want us to leave her alone. Well, looks like we've got a bit of opposition here. Maybe we should be careful what we say in front of our new friends, girls.
Maybe she knows too much already, huh?
Oh, please, I just want to be left alone. I won't say anything to anyone. Really, I wouldn't want to upset anyone.
Good. Because, you see, when I get upset, someone always seems to get hurt.
Why does the governor want to see you, Doreen? You in trouble? Hey, I know it's none of my business, Doreen, but, well, I've been thinking about you a lot. And I think that you're letting that teacher walk all over you. I mean, why let a man think he's got the better of you? Once they know that they've gotten under your skin...
He can go and jump for all I care, and you too smart, Alec. You reckon you know it all, but that's because you know you're going to be out of here in a few weeks.
You're right, Doreen. Always putting my foot in my mouth, but honestly, I don't mean to. Anyway, I know you're over Mr. Andrews and all of that, but next time you got keen on a guy, play it cool. Like, well, pretend you don't care if they're dead or alive. Just dangle a little bit of bait in front of them and tease yourself up, make yourself look as good as you can. And presto, he's hooked. Works for me. Well, anyway, it's just my opinion. But I reckon that you should keep going to those classes too. I mean, show him you don't give a stuff. Why cut off your nose to spite your face? See ya.
These are the files on the new arrivals. You might like to study them.
I'd heard there were 3.
Oh, the other one decided to pay the fines instead of serving the full 7 days.
A sensible girl. When can I see the others?
Well, you can see Randel whenever you like, but we're keeping the Baxter girl in solitary for another 24 hours. Longer if necessary.
But she's only 19 and the first offender. Why the harsh treatment?
Well, to date, she's broken the nose of the girl who left. She's destroyed a uniform. She's plastered porridge all over the walls. She's refused to shower. It's altogether quite uncontrollable.
Has anyone tried to reason with her?
Well, I don't want her to have contact with anyone at this stage. If she doesn't learn from the outset that we won't tolerate offensive behavior, we'll never be able to control her. She'll calm down in due course.
And what if she doesn't?
Being confined to solitary has always worked in the past, even with the toughest. Is there anything else?
Yes. I think Lizzie would like to continue seeing Sid Humphrey.
Oh, I don't think that's such a good idea, especially if she gets so depressed.
Well, I think that was just the shock of seeing him so ill.
But he's a friend of hers, about the only one she's got on the outside. It'll only make her worse if she knows she can't see him at all.
Very well. She can visit him tomorrow. But if she gets too upset, it'll have to be her last.
That's all, Mrs. Davidson. I better get back.
Thank you, Mr. Andrews. Would you be so good as to send Doreen in, please? I'd like you to stay, Mrs. Morris.
Sorry we kept you waiting, Doreen. I'm disappointed you stopped coming to classes. You were doing very well.
Yeah, well, I'm thinking of coming back again, if you must know.
Oh, good. You can go in now.
Hurry up, Doreen. We haven't got all day.
Well, you kept me waiting long enough.
I beg your pardon?
Oh, I'm sorry, Mrs. Morris.
Sit down, Doreen. I received Miss Vaughan's report. She doesn't feel you were very cooperative.
Well, there was nothing to say. Like I told her, Mrs. Davidson, whatever happened between Kevin and me, well, that had nothing to do with anyone else.
If you have been married less than 2 years, the family law court requires you have counselling.
Yeah, well, I did.
And you feel once was enough?
I want whatever Kevin wants. And if he wants a divorce, well, then I'm not going to fight it, Mrs. Davidson.
Are you certain? Just because you've signed an acknowledgement service doesn't commit you. If you want further counselling...
I'm not going to hurt him any more than I've already done. I've got 3 years to go now. And I wouldn't expect anyone to wait that long, let alone Kevin. Letting him go is probably the most decent thing I've ever done for him.
I was thinking more along the lines of counselling, helping you to come to terms with future relationships.
I don't need anybody telling me what's wrong with me. I know I've got a habit of messing things up, but I'm learning. I've got to grow up a bit, that's all. If I ever meet anybody like Kevin again, I'm going to show him that I can be as good as anyone else.
Oh, Evelyn, have you got a minute?
If any of those women know I'm talking to you, I'm sure they suspect something. You underestimate that Smith woman.
Yes, I'll be interested to see how far she can be pushed.
You may find the criminal mind interesting. I find it terrifying.
It'll be all right, Evelyn. Now, listen, I'm going to stir things up a bit. You aim at the weakest spot, and that's Doreen.
What?
I can't wait forever to have them set me up.
Evelyn Randel?
Oh, yes.
My name's Andrews. Sorry I'm late. I had to get a few things out of the car. Sit down. Excuse me. Would you mind waiting outside? I see that you're married.
Well, I've been a widow for 12 years.
Any children?
No, none.
You're probably disorientated at the moment, but 3 years, it's a long time to be idle. Perhaps you'd like to join some of the classes we have here.
I have no intention of going back to school, young man.
My name's Andrews, Mr. Andrews.
And I'm sure it does say somewhere in there that I intend to appeal against my conviction.
Well, perhaps it'd be wise if you only appealed against the severity of your sentence.
I shouldn't have been convicted at all. A doctor in my position wouldn't even have been charged.
The point is, Mrs. Randel, that you're not a registered doctor, nor are you acknowledged by the medical profession. The laws are here to protect the public from, well, shall we say, dangerous practices.
My reputation as a herbalist is above reproach, and yours is a sort of attitude that sent me to this place.
It was good of you to let me work in here on this, Mr. Andrews.
Well, it's just as important to practice a trade as it is to run a business, in case anyone wonders what you're doing.
I hope I didn't hold up the classes, Mr. Andrews.
No, we're just starting to do assignments on keeping cash records.
Oh, good. I like to learn about business things. I might run my own one day.
Well, I'll give you an assignment.
You're doing just great. Ask him for a really difficult one and I'll help you with it. Show him we've got something up here as well.
Mr. Andrews, could I have a really hard one, please?
Well, do you think you're ready for it?
Of course I am. I'm not stupid, you know, and I can do these things blindfold.
All right. There you go. Great. You'd make a good accountant.
Mr. Andrews.
That was quick.
Yeah, it was real easy. I thought you reckoned it was going to be hard. No use me coming to the classes if I can't learn anything new. Huh. Takes you longer to check it than it took me to do it.
I'm sorry, Doreen, but I think you've made a few mistakes.
What are you talking about? It's got to be right. What's bloody wrong with it?
Well, everything, I'm afraid. I think we should start at the beginning, don't you? There's nothing to be ashamed of, Doreen.
You shouldn't let that young teacher upset you. Doesn't know what he's talking about. He's read a few books, thinks he's an authority on everything.
He doesn't know very much about women, that's for sure. Do you really think you can make people okay, you know, just by using plants and stuff?
Well, there's hardly a plant around that can't be used for some sort of medicine.
It's not very much in this garden.
Oh, you'll be surprised. You know, I could cure a lot of complaints just by using the stuff we've got here.
Do you reckon you could fix me up something?
What's wrong with you?
I feel crook, that's all. Oh, my stomach's turning upside down, inside out, you know?
Well, castor oil seed should do it. Yes, or comfrey. That soothes the stomach very nicely. If I should give you some medicine, you must promise not to tell a soul, especially your friend, B.
Okay.
You reckon Sid'll like this?
Yeah, of course he will. At least you got a bloke who appreciates getting presents.
Oh, come on, Dor, you can't go lying there all day.
I can do what I like.
B and Jude might need a hand.
Look, I don't care if I never see that creep again. He can drop dead for all I care.
All ready, Lizzie?
Oh, yeah, Mrs. M. Do you reckon it'll be okay if I give this to Sid? It might help cheer him up a bit.
All right, but don't expect him to be any better than yesterday, Lizzie. If you're not going to classes, Doreen, you should be in the laundry.
I don't feel too well, Mrs. Morris. I thought I'd lie down for a while.
If you're sick, report to Sister Franklin.
Sick call's not for an hour, so there.
Don't you ever speak to me like that again, Burns. Now get off that bed before I put you on report. Wait down at the end of the corridor, Lizzie. I'll be with you in a minute. Now, I'm getting a little fed up with your behaviour, young lady. Now, I know what's upsetting you, but that's no excuse for rudeness. It seems to me your idea of growing up a bit hasn't lasted very long. You've got to accept your relationship with Mr. Andrews for what it is. Teacher, pupil, and nothing else. At the moment, you've got a crush on him because of Kevin.
You leave Kevin out of this.
Now, I know it isn't easy to accept a divorce from someone you still care about. But throwing your emotions at Mr. Andrews isn't going to help either. Only time will. Now, I think you can go back to the laundry until sick call, don't you?
Oh, Mrs. Morris almost caught me. Now, there's your torch. And this is what you wanted.
Oh, yuck.
Well, if you don't want to feel better, then don't drink it.
Oh, no, it'll be okay. Thanks.
We've got to get these muscles working again, Mr. Humphrey, but you're not helping much. Come on, pull, pull.
Waste of time. Can't hold a glass properly, let alone a spanner. Can't even talk properly. Oh, cripple, what? Don't you go and help the young uns?
I'm sorry. The sister said we could come in, but we don't mind waiting outside if you like.
Oh, that's all right. I've just about finished.
How's he doing, Doc?
Oh, I'm the physiotherapist.
Oh, is he that bad?
Are you his wife?
No, just a friend.
Well, if he doesn't want to help himself, all my work will be a waste of time. He has to want to use his muscles himself, otherwise they'll waste away.
We'll soon see about that. You just leave it to me.
Elizabeth.
What's all this I hear about you not trying to lift a finger to help yourself, you silly old bugger?
Too old. Too tired.
Rubbish. You'll talk yourself into it. I ought to know, because that's what I did before I met you, and you gave me some hope.
No. Used to myself or anyone now.
I see. What's good enough for the goose is not good enough for the gander, is it? Fancy saying that to me. Me. I was ready to throw the towel in. And then you came along and showed me that I was somebody that... You showed me that I was a lady. If you give up now, that means that I'm flaming useless and that you've just been stringing me along.
Could you get me some water, please?
Get it yourself, said Humphrey. A bit of a limp's not gonna hurt you. Better than being in a wheelchair all your life. Of course, you won't be able to work as hard as you used to. But then none of us can. You just make sure you do what them doctors and nurses tell you.
Elizabeth?
Yeah?
Oh, I know I'm not going back to work at Wentworth. There's no point in killing ourselves.
But I'll be able to come and see you. Better than trying to have a chat in the corridors.
You know, I reckon I might get myself a walking stick. Some people say it looks okay on an older bloke. Adds a bit of dignity.
You've got all the dignity you need.
All right, ladies, hand in your assignments. We'll talk about it after we've had a break.
Oh, watch where you're...
Lil, Judy, stop this. Stop this. What is going on?
Yeah, well, this hippopotamus can't watch what she's doing.
Please.
Yeah, well, we don't want to make it too hard to find, do we?
What do you know? Evelyn Randel.
Yeah. That'll save us asking a lot of questions or waiting for her to tell us her boring life story, huh?
Now, you know that an inmate's file is private and confidential.
Yeah. What's it say, huh?
You were supposed to return that file yesterday. Why did you not do so?
I'm sorry, Mrs. Davidson. I just wanted to have another look through it in case there was anything I could suggest for her appeal.
Which is usually my area, Mr. Andrews.
Yes, well, I can't understand why anyone would want to steal a file.
Well, I'm sure they have their reasons. All we can do is not to give them the opportunities. All classes will have to be cancelled for the rest of the morning. The time will be used in making a search.
Rock of Ages, cleft for me. Let me hide myself in thee.
Come on, Lizzie, less noise and more speed, please.
All right, Miss Morris, won't be a tick.
Oh, can I help you?
Yes, my name's Thompson. I'm from the health department. I'm looking for a Jennifer Armstrong. I believe she was sent here 2 days ago.
Oh, yes, she was, but she left yesterday.
Oh, dear. Do you have a forwarding address for her?
You said the health department?
That's right. We're checking all passengers who came in on a flight from Malaysia a few days ago. A woman's been taken to the Fairfield Infectious Diseases Hospital. She's contracted some sort of virus. We're not sure what it is, but we suspect typhoid. I'm checking all passengers from that flight. Just a precaution.
Yes, well, just a minute. We have her parents' address. They should know where she is.
Thank you.
What's up, love?
Oh, I've got pains in my stomach.
Inside.
What's going on?
Maybe somebody's gone missing.
Oh. How do you explain this, Hamilton?
I just wanted some gripping bedtime reading, I guess.
Then you admit stealing it from Mr. Andrews.
Why not?
She's taking it very
I
well.
demand an explanation.
Almost as she
Stealing from a member
expects.
of staff, particularly confidential information,
Did something
is a
to
very
happen.
serious offence.
Yeah. Why doesn't she tell him she was framed? It looks as if she wants to get in the pound.
Maybe I'm becoming...
She does.
You won't
Damn, we're
feel
going to
quite
do her a
so fun when
favour.
you spend a few days in solitary.
I'd watch that one if I were you, Mrs. Davidson. She's a reporter. In here to get a story about harsh treatment at the hands of the screws.
I
I take it you stole this file for the sole purpose of writing an article on this woman.
Mrs. Davidson, that file was planted on me. I went along with it because I was interested to see what it would be like to do a stretch in solitary. Now, I am not intending on writing an article attacking this system, I assure you. I simply want to write a series of articles on the workings of the criminal mind.
I see. Then you'd better write an article on yourself.
What?
You deliberately broke the law, Hamilton, no matter what the reason. Your crime is as bad as any of the other inmates. In fact, it is worse than most because it was totally premeditated.
Mrs. Davidson, that's ridiculous.
Well, you'd better think about what I said in solitary.
Could I suggest something, Mrs. Davidson? We could put her in isolation for the rest of her time here. No phone calls, no visitors, and no contact with the rest of the women.
That's not fair. I think that's an excellent idea. If you want to write about prisons, then you'll have to work from your imagination. Would you see to that, Mrs. Morris?
He who laughs last, eh?
Cheer up, Dor. You ought to be glad you got one of them snoopy reporters.
I just don't feel so good.
What's wrong with you, love? You look a bit flushed. She's burning up.
You mean she's not faking?
Uh-huh.
And what is supposed to mean?
I forgot to tell you. You know that poor little mate who got her nose broken, the one that I told off? Well, a bloke from the health department came here looking for her. He reckons somebody on her plane had one of them foreign diseases.
Well, what's that got to do with Doreen?
Well, Jenny could have passed it on to Dor. Dor could have one of them funny diseases.
She was nowhere near Doreen. Don't talk flaming rot.
Yeah, but you know how them bugs get around.
Yeah, and I've got Evelyn to fix me up something, but it doesn't seem to be doing much good.
Well, you didn't take it, did you?
Yeah.
You flaming little idiot. Do you know what she's in for? Manslaughter. She gave one of her patients one of the home brews she makes up, and the patient kicked the bucket. She's not even a bloody poisoner.